Hello students. In the previous class, we have studied the sources of public revenue. This is the paper X of Public Finance Semester 4. This is the second class of the Unit 3. And we will start today neutrality of tax. Yesterday or last class we have explained direct tax and indirect taxes are the sources of government revenue, major sources of government revenue. Now we will see which one is better and which one is not. For that we will go for neutrality of tax. Neutrality of tax means the tax always imposes negative utility or disutility of the taxpayer. But the tax system should be better, should be good. If the burden of tax is as least as possible, as minimum as possible. So neutrality of tax refers to minimum burden of tax on taxpayer. Generally, the burden of tax is of two types. One is monetary burden and another psychological burden. We will explain today about the psychological monetary burden of the tax. So neutrality of tax refers to the burden or refers to the minimum burden of the tax on the taxpayer. We will see whether direct tax or indirect tax, which one is more neutral. That means either direct tax or indirect tax, which one is least or imposes least impact or sacrifice on the taxpayer. For explanation of the neutrality tax, we have two views. Number one, Marshallian views. Number two, Joseph and Hicks view. We will explain one after another for a better understanding. Marshallian view. Marshall explained burden of tax or neutrality of tax considering only direct tax, and he concluded that direct tax is better than indirect tax. In his explanation, he explained only burden of indirect tax like this. This is the demand for the goods, this is supply of the goods, and this is price. This is quantity demanded and supplied before tax. Let for example and APE is the consumer surplus and BPE is the producer surplus. It is before tax. When government imposes tax, indirect tax on the commodity, the supply curve shift forward is shift backward. So S plus T is the new supply curve, and E1 is the new equilibrium, Q1 is the quantity, P1 is the price, and the tax amount is TE1. Tax imposed is TE1. Now we find consumer surplus is AP1E1. AP1E1. That is loss of a consumer surplus. Loss of consumer surplus is PP1E1E. PP1E1E. That means before tax we have consumer surplus PAE. Now it is A P1 E1. So loss of surplus is P P1 E1. Now so also there is a loss of producer surplus also. The loss of producer surplus is PVTE. PVTE. The total loss is VP1 E1 ET. VP1 E1 ET. But imposing tax, government gets the revenue which is ultimately spent for the public welfare. The revenue earned by government, is VT E1 P1. Net loss is E1 T E. This is the net loss of the society due to indirect tax. So Marshall concluded that since indirect tax imposed on the society or economy, we find that the net loss is TEE1. So indirect tax is not at all good. So he concluded that direct tax is better. But he has not shown us how direct tax is better than indirect tax. This view of direct tax is better than indirect tax, how it is better, is explained by Joseph and Hicks. Now we will go for Joseph and Hicks view. Joseph and Hicks view. Before explaining Joseph Hicks view, I will suggest all the students to go to my previous video, which is given in my descriptions. Now we'll go for Joseph and Hicks view, who explained that direct tax is better than indirect tax and indirect tax is also better than indirect tax. But he explained these two taxes at the same time. We can explain Joseph Hicks view in three points. First one is choice between two goods, choice between present and future, and choice between leisure and work. We will go one by one. So first one is choice between two goods. We will take now a diagram for that. This is our income. This is our goods X, and this is our income. Before tax, this is the budget line of the consumer, and it purchases at this point. So OQ, amount of goods X, is purchased by the consumer. Let now government imposes indirect tax on the goods X. That is why price of goods X rises, and we find that the budget line goes backward, and consumer now purchases at this level of consumption, and his consumption is OQ1. QQ1 is the reduction of consumption, which is called as choice distorting effect. Choice distorting effect. Now, what we find is that government tax TE1 because due to tax imposition the project line goes backward. Now this is the tax amount TE1 is the tax amount taken by government. This is the tax taken by government. Now, let for example, this is same amount of tax is taken by government by direct tax. That means when direct tax is imposed, the income of the consumer goes down. That is why we find that whenever income goes down, consumer also purchases less quantity of goods, and consumer will go to high level of indifference curve because high level of satisfaction, high level of indifference curve gives high level of satisfaction. That is why this is the indifference curve of consumption choice of the consumer when direct tax is imposed. Now Q2 is the quantity consumed by consumer when indirect tax is imposed. Now the choice distorting effect of the direct tax is Q2. So Q1 choice distorting effect of indirect tax, Q2 choice distorting effect of direct tax. As Q1 is greater than Q2, that is, choice distortion of the indirect tax is more as compared to direct tax. We can conclude that government gets same amount of revenue by direct tax and also indirect tax, but choice distorting effect is less in case of direct tax. So direct tax is better than indirect tax. This is the first point. Joseph and Hicks explained choice between two modes. Now I will go for second point. Present and future. Present and future. I will explain this same thing from the first point, that is TE1 tax taken by government both in case of direct tax and indirect tax. Again, the choice distorting effect of direct tax is direct tax choice distorting effect, e.g. Q2, indirect tax choice distorting effect, e.g. Q1, direct tax is better than indirect tax as choice distorting effect or choice distorting effect Q2 less than Q1. We have discussed this in the previous class. Now the previous point. Now we will go for present and future. For example, government, we know that government always imposes income tax, but he gives rebate for the taxpayer who has insurance scheme or also loan for the housing loan, etc. That is why we will have another income tax line, income price line below the previous line. This is the new line I drawn here. What does it mean? It means that if consumer manage to consume at OQ1 goods when indirect tax is imposed, so why should he spend OQ2 while he spend while he is imposed on by the direct tax? That means uh, we have explained that in case of choice of two goods, they find that direct tax is better than indirect tax because the choice effect is less. Now a question arises that if the consumer managed to consume OQ1 when indirect tax is imposed, why should he spend money for OQ2 consumption? That is why government thinks that more income tax should be imposed on the taxpayer so that he will consume at the same level of consumption in case of indirect tax. That is, we impose income tax more than OTE1, TE2. To reduce the consumption pattern or reduce the quantity of consumption of the taxpayer. But government gives the option that if the taxpayer saves for future, which can be used for capital formation of the country, this extra amount of tax E1, E2 is not imposed. So the consumer feels that if he pays the tax amount of TE2 instead of TE1, A1, A2 tax is given to government which is not used of his own. So consumers reduces his consumption from OQ2 to OQ1 so that he can save this amount of money for future. So in this case, direct tax is most helpful for the future consumption, that is capital formation of the country. That is why in this case also choice between present and future, we conclude that direct tax is better than indirect tax because consumer is bound to, the taxpayer is bound to save more for his future. Otherwise, he has to pay the additional tax amount E1, E2. That is why we conclude that choice between present and future that the direct tax is better than indirect tax. Then we come to the third point. Choice between leisure and work. Choice between leisure and work. Choice between leisure and work. Now we take income here, goods X here. This is the budget line before tax. Consumer consumes at the point and he has left income with him OQ1. Let for example government imposes direct tax now. Direct tax on income. On income. His budget line goes back to this line. And his consumption pattern is here. OQ2 is the choice distorting effect. And this is the amount of tax TE1 is the amount of tax imposed by government. Let for example government imposes indirect tax on leisure. It is called poll tax. It is called a poll tax. This tax is called indirect tax in the sense that when the tax is imposed on the government on the leisure, that means the surrender leave. A government servant can avail surrender leave. That means he will spend time for government activities rather than leisure. That is why leisure is reduced when he is compelled to work in government activities. That means when he reduces leisure, in poll tax, this is called poll tax, we find that his income level goes up. His income level goes up. This is the budget line. And leisure is reduced here. Leisure is reduced here and income goes up. And consumer finds it better to go to a higher level of indifference curve. And now consumer consumes at OQ3 point, then on O2 point. So the choice distorting effect is QQ3. Q1, Q3 choice distorting effect in case of indirect tax, that is poll tax. And Q1, Q2 choice distorting effect in case of direct tax. Here, indirect tax is better than direct tax because choice distorting effect Q1, Q2 is greater than Q1, Q3. That means indirect tax choice distorted is less as compared to direct tax. What we find in that case? In case 1, direct tax is better. Case 2, also direct tax is better. In case 3, indirect tax is better. So we conclude from this analysis is that neither direct tax or indirect tax is better. Both are two sisters of the government. We find direct tax and indirect tax has more importance in economic activities of the country to raise revenue for the government. Now, we find that direct tax is better in its own way, indirect tax is better in its own way. So, what is the principles of direct tax? So that neutrality is maintained. And what is the principles of indirect tax? Principles of indirect tax so that neutrality is maintained. The direct tax principle, we find that there are three principles. Cost of service theory, benefit theory, and ability to pay theory. These are the three principles of direct tax as envisaged by government, as envisaged by the economists, so that a neutrality is maintained. That means the minimum burden of tax is maintained. And in case of indirect tax also, we have another principle, that is shifting and incidence theory. Shifting and incidence theory. However, we conclude here that in neutrality of tax, that tax is should be such, the burden of tax should be minimum, and we find that there are three principles of direct tax and three principles, so one principle of indirect tax to maintain neutrality of the tax. In the next class, we will explain these theories one after another as our course suggests us. Thank you all.